So thought and thing. You know, Muni Maharaj, these two words, thought and thing, or think and thing. In English, they have the same etymological derivation. In German also. German, I can't remember now. No. Anyhow, what you think about a thing is what that thing is. A thing is only what you think it to be. So there's a connection. Concept and its reality. This is the nature of things. This is the nature of all of nature of the idea, you can say. Basic idea is that there is a correspondence between concept and reality. Our concept of reality, two things, but they are also one. Not there are unity and diversity. So Kusham, how are you doing? You okay today? Not so good? Krishna's protecting you. Shanta Maharaj, are you there? Make me go live. Does Anna say anything? She's coming? No?
No, I never got a response.
Haribo, Uma Devi, Hare Krishna, Dandavat. So, Dandavat. So we'll start Kirtan. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Jai Navadeep Dham, Mayapur Dham, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Jai Yamunami Gangamai Ki Jai. Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Premzik Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. And Jai all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to all the worldwide devotees Ki Jai. Jai Maharaj, all the Maharajas, Prabhus Ki Jai. Oh, Prabhu, is that loud enough? Maybe the volume's not up. Since I hardly hear it now, that I can hardly hear them. The volume up on there? My volume up?
It's not.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Ajay Prabhu?
Online today.
Huh? What was that?
I could not stream it online today. It does not allow me.
Oh, okay. We'll have our own private session. Ajay Prabhu not coming?
You didn't say anything.
Okay. And page 38. Vandanam. Page 38. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sa Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Dham Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vasakanvitam Sa Om Agana Timidandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Puja Shri Guru Varga Vandita Mahabhava Vanvitaya Sada Purva Parya Parampara Prachalita Pragya Pamurta Krite Bhaktir Nirmala Nirjarhasya Nibritam Samrakshakam Sadaram Vande Shri Guru Devam Ananta Shira Acharya Varam Nijam Gorva Bista Sapurakam Guru Ganaya Ashisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shirupa Patananugam Govindabdidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktanvitam Sundaram Vande Vishwagarun Chadivya Bhagavat Premno Hibija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Param Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidya Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vande Tam Subhadam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvaram Sridharam Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gaurvanvaye Bhatto Manuvira Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Mayavada Timingalo Daragatan Uditya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdigana Sukam Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhajet Namo Gaur Kishoraya Bhaktavaduta Murtai Gaurangri Prabhadbhigaya Radha Bhava Nishevane Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudanidim Gauravaja Shrita Sheshaya Vaishnavaya Vanya Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Mande Premabdim Vreda Vaishnavam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatar Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tuitse Namaha Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radhamadana Moharo Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singha Sanasto Shri Gandharva Srila Govindevo Praise the Levi Savyamano Smarami Sriman Rasa Rasamrambi Vangsivata Titastita Karsan Venu Swanar Gopir Gopinatha Shri Sunam Vrindai Tolosi Devai Priyayai Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavachai Namo Namah Vatanatva Mantra Gurun Gurun Bhagavatarthadan Vyasan Jagat Karun Natva Tato Jayam Udhirayet Jai Sapadika Shri Shri Guru Garanga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Para Padmanam Jayastu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gomar, Srila Gurudev, Srila Chardev Ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhana Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, Hari 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 Bo. Hare Krishna. Is that our Jai Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry for later.
Okay. We missed you last time. Yeah. I'm glad to see you're okay. Page 16. Page 16. Yasomati Nandana. Your mother is not here today. Uma Devi, can you sing Yasomati Nandan for us again? Thank you. Yasomati Nandana Brajavarana Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vangsivadana Suvasa Prajajana Palana Surakulana Sana Nanda Godana Rakoyala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala. Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya. Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinodashraya. Yasomati Nandana Prajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana. Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damona Vidana. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And page 45. Hare Krishna. Shanta Maharaj, would you like to sing? Lead our singing? Shanta Maharaj, can you hear? Oh, Shanta Maharaj, I don't think your volume is up. Can you hear us?
I don't think so, Maharaj.
How do we? Oh, okay. Would you like to lead Samsara singing? Page 45. Thank you, Maharaj. Samsaradava Nanalita Loka Tranayakaya Naganatvam. Pratasya Kaya Nagunanavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditya Madhyan Manasora Sena. Romanchakampa Shutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanharavindam
Shri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Singaratam Mandiramajanado
Shri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Sringaratan Mandirabhajanado
Yotasya Bhaktasya Nikungakopi Vande Gurasi Charanam
Yuktasya bhaktam sanyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Chaturvidhasi Bhagavat Prasada Swadamatripana Haribhakta Sangha
Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Swadvana Triptan Haribhakta Sangam
Hitavaivatripam Bhajadasya Vande Gurasi Charanam
Kritvaiva Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Shiradhikama Madhava Paro Madhurjalila Gularupanama
Pratikshana Swadanalolo Pasya Yalila Gunarupanam Nam
Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Vande Gurasi Charanavindam
Pratikshana Swadanalolo Pasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Did you lose it?
You froze.
Oh. Santa Maharaj, we lost your connection. Hare Krishna. Muni Maharaj, can you hear us?
He's also frozen.
Something happened to our India connection. Hello, India.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay.
Some problem.
Okay.
Internet got disconnected.
All right. All right. We lost you on the Kunjayuno.
Okay, Maharaj. Sorry. Nikunjayo no ratikeli shidhe Yajali virati apekshaniya
Nikunjayuno radikali sidae yayali biyuktira pekshaniya.
Radhidakshadati vallabhasya Vande Gurasi Charanavindam
Tatra didaksha dativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Saksadarittvena samasta sastre Uttastata bhavataiva sadhi
Sakshadari Tvena Samasta Sastre Yuktastatha Bhavyate Vasadbhi
Kintu prabhu gurya priyaiva tasya Vande Gurasi Charanavindam
Kintu Prabhoya Priya Bhatasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi
Yasya Prasadad Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi
Jayam Shrivam Tasya Yasastri
Dhyayam suvam stasyaya sastri sanyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Srimad Guru Rastakam Etaruchar Brahme Muhurte Patati Prayatnat. Yastena Vrinda Vananata Sakshat Sevaiva Labhya Janasontareva. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Page 65. Rasraj Prabhu. Would you like to sing that?
Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj Prabhu. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala Echayaya Jagata Judaya Hena Nitai Vinebai Radha Krishna Paitenai Dida Kori Dara Nitai Rapai Se Sambandha Nahi Ora Ritta Janma Kulatara Se Pasu Bada Durachara Nitai na balila muke Majila samsara suke Vidya kule kikari betara Ahankare matoina Nitai para pasariya Asatyera satya korimani Nitaye karuno hobe, Raje Radha Krishna pabe. Dada Nitaye Sharana Dukani. Nitaye Charana Saktya Tanhara Sevaka Nitya. Nitai Pada Sada Koro Asa. Narotama Badaduki Nitai Ore Karasuke. Rakaranga Charanera Pasa. Jaya Dayal Nitai, Jaya Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai, Jaya Dayal Nitai. Jaya Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai, Jaya Dayal Nitai, Jaya Dayal Nitai. Jai Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. And let's see. Kanupriya Devi? Do, no, what? Do you know this? Do you know this next song? Nitai Gunamani? That's on, let's see, that's on page 66, yes. Uh, do you know that? I'm not, I'm not sure of this.
66.
On page 66. Nitai Gunamani, Amar Nitai Gunamani. Huh? What is?
What tune? How does the tune go?
The tune? You are asking the tune?
Yes.
Yes, yes, if you like. Okay. Nitai Guna Muni Amar, Nitai Guna Mani. All right. You don't know the tune, okay. Muni Maharaj, do you know it? Oh. Muni Maharaj? We cannot hear you.
unmuted, Maharaj.
Oh, now we can hear it. Now we can hear
Nitai kuno moni mama, nitai kuno moni.
it. Nitai gunamani amar. Nitai gunamani.
Aniya premera banna, asalo boli.
Aniya premera vanya. Basala avani.
Prema bandhano enitai, ailo gaura deshe.
Prema vanyalai nitai. Aila Gaura Deshe.
Vilo bhagato gano, dino hino bhase.
Duhila Bakatagana Dina Hina Base.
Dino hino poti chota, noro nahi bache.
Dina Hina Patitva Pamara Nahit Pache.
Brahmaro durlabha premo, sabha kari jache.
Pramara Dulaba Prema Prema Sabakare Ache.
Avadho karuna sindhu, patiya muhan.
Abada Karuna Sindhu Katiya Mohana.
Ghare ghare bhule premo, omiyaro bhan.
Gare Gare Bhule Prema Ami Aravana.
लोचन वाले बनो निताय, जेवाना भजीलो.
Lochan Balehena Nitai Ebana Bajila.
जानिया शुनिया से आत्मघाती होइलो.
Janiya Saniya Ye Atma Gati Haila.
दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय.
Dayanitai, 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 Dayanitai.
दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय, दयाल निताय.
Dayanitai, 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 Dayanitai. Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. This is a song by Lochandas Thakur. Uh, then, then, uh, then let's see.
Can we read the English of that, Maharaj?
Huh?
Can we read the English of this?
Yes, Ajay Prabhu. Would you?
Thank you so much.
Can you read the English?
Yeah, sure, Bharat. Uh, Nitai, the devil of all good qualities. My Nitai, the devil of all good qualities, brought a flood of divine love and inundated the earth. Nitai brought a flood of divine love to the land of Gauda. Devotees immersed themselves in it, but the unbrought ship floated on its surface. The sinful, unfortunate, and fallen did not desire this divine love, which is difficult for even Brahma to attain. Yet Nitai begged them to accept it. Nitai cut a canal into the sea coast of mercy, and a flood of nectarian divine love spread to every home. Lotan Das says, anyone who did not serve this life knowingly commits suicide.
Hare Krishna. Uh,
Hare Krishna.
the beautiful words Lochandas Thakur has created. Uh, Nitai spread an ocean of divine love. Those who are fortunate drowned in that ocean. The unfortunate were swimming on the surface. Those who are fortunate, they drown in that ocean. The unfortunate ones are only staying on the surface, swimming around needlessly. Then let's see. And Kanupriya, can I know one you know? There's one you know, Vaishnava Thakur, page 58. You know that? Know that one? Yes. Hey Vaishnava Thakur, Atayara Sagara, Ida Se Karuna Kori. Diya Padachaya, Sodahe Amaya, Tomara Charana Dori. Chaya Vegadami, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chaya Guna Dehadase. Chaya Satsanga, Deha He Amare, Basachi Sangera Se. Ekaki Amar, Nahi Pai Bolo, Harinama Sankirtane. Tumi Kripa Kori, Shraddha Bindu Diya, Deha Krishna Namadane. Krishna se Tomar, Krishna dite para, Tomarasha Katiyache. Amita Kanga, Krishna Krishna Bali, Daitava Pache Pache. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. All right, thank you. Hare Krishna. Then one more, let's see. Uh, page 105. And then Lochan Prabhu, can you sing the 105? Amara Jivana? Thank you, Prabhu. Yes?
Amara Jiranda Sarata Perata Vipatiyesha
Amar Jivana Sada Papirata Nahika Punyeralesha
Arere Upega Dija Chije Kanta Yachi Desha
Parera Urvega Diachi Ekata Diachi Jivera Klesha
Dija Sukala Dija Dija Adakina Sartapara
Anija Sukhalagi Pape Nahidari Daya Hina Swarta Para
Arasukeduki Saranujavashi Paradukapara
Para Suke Duki Sada Mitya Basi Para Duka Sukakara
Ashisakam Kinja Ridambakajana
Osesha Kamana Hidi Mahi Mora Krodi Damba Parayana
Aramatastara Vishayamastitya Isagarbhakshana
Mada Mata Sada Vishaye Mohita Ingsa Garva Vibhushana
Nidranasya Sattva Virata Upagiyami
Nidra Lasya Hata Sukarye Virata Arkeyi Udogiyami
Bhakti-sthana-hija satya-charana Bhava-bhakti-sadhana-mi
Pratisthalagiya Satya Acharana Lobhata Sarakami
Nitya-na-durvana sajana-varjita Aradi-viranta-para
Ehena Dojana Sajana Varjita Aparadi Nirantara
Dubacharya-shunya-sadhana-pavana Madhukeja-ranjara
Subhakarya Sunya Sadhanarta Mana Nana Duke Jara Jara
Arya-ke-vichana-bhakti-yoga-visuddhi Dedina-bhakti-samudha
Vardake Ikana Upaya Vihina Tate Dina Kinchana
Bhakrati Vinoda Prabhuracharane Hare Dukha Nidhana
Bhakati Vinora Prabhura Charane Kare Dukani Vedana
Amara Jivana Sadhaka Perata Chitta Punyaya Klesha
Amar Jivana Sada Papirata Nahika Punyara Lesha
Hare Upega Dija Chija Kata Yati Dija Klesha
Parero Udvega Diachi Ekata Diachi Jivera Klesha Jai Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Lochan Prabhu Ki Jai
You don't see his brother? Like, brother is
Ah, there. He's hiding.
that looks like similar, like twins.
Yes.
People say very often that we look like twins.
Yeah.
Doesn't like it because he's younger.
Hare Krishna.
Panajivanamrita.
Huh?
It's for Panajivanamrita.
Yeah. So today I was making a reply to Joan Walton. She wrote a very nice uh, comment letter to me about the book. She received the book and read it. I'm surprised she read it. she, she actually read the book. That spent the whole all day, almost a whole day reading it, and she had some very nice things to say about it. Very happy to hear from her. Anyhow, she asked a very interesting question that we can talk about these things and have a rational understanding of things. But how do we experience those things? How do we experience those things? A rational understanding, having a proper conception, and actually experiencing that are two different things, it seems. So we can sit and have conferences and discuss these matters philosophically, but then where does the experience of those things come from? So, Aristotle, you've all heard of Aristotle. He, great philosopher, about 2,000 years ago, he gave the same idea we're trying to revive in the modern world. He said that a hand, if you take the hand, detach it, chop it off, that hand off from the body, then that hand by itself is no longer a hand. It's not a hand. Hand means which has a certain function in relation to the body. If you look at the hand by itself, that's not a right hand. There's no such thing as that. In nature, hands don't grow on their own. They grow as part of a body only. So the real understanding of hand is in relation to the body. Let's try to explain like that. That everything not only exists, but it has uh, it exists for something, for the sake of something, has a purpose. Everything exists not only in itself, but it also exists for something else other than itself. Generally, the modern idea, modern thinking, is that things have an existence on their own, in themselves, we can say. That anything that we can think about, its essence, its existence, is in itself, only in itself. We don't think that it can have some essence in something other than itself. We just look at the thing and say it has its own existence on its own. Uh, if this is the case, then we can see how the whole reality becomes reduced to atoms. This is the whole atomized conception of things, atomic conception of things. Everything has its whole being, its whole essence in itself, apart from anything else. So we focus on the thing only and not anything else besides the thing. Then everything is contained within that thing. That's called atomic thinking. It's for itself. The being of the thing is for itself, not for anything other than itself. That's what we mean by atomic theory. Thus, the whole world is made up of things like that. In other words, the whole is a totality, a mere totality of atomic atoms. I don't know if you can follow what I'm saying. Is it clear? Huh? Is it? You understand? Yes. Rasaraj understands. Anyone else? How we get to the atomic theory of atomic understanding of the world. We think things have their own identity within themselves. Everything that you want to know about something, you just look at the thing and you can figure out what that is. No. Aristotle said no. That's not how we understand things. That leads to atomic theory. Rather, things have some significance other than themselves. What is that other? That's the whole of which they are a part. Understand? Everything must be understood by what is not itself. Everything other than itself can explain that thing itself. A very new idea for a modern world to contemplate. Whatever anything is, it's other. Whatever is other than that, that is the meaning of that thing. That's called the whole or the concept of the thing. That will explain what that thing is. This Aristotle had the idea, and he told Hegel told the same thing. Hegel had the same conception. Don't try to understand the thing on its own. You have to understand it with relationship to the whole, of which it is but a part, and for which it has its function and its existence and its purpose, its meaning. Its meaning is not within the thing itself. Its meaning is within the whole context or whole concept of which it is but a part. We can understand this kind of thinking. Then we can appreciate what Krishna consciousness is trying to teach. Your identity does not lie within yourself, but within your relationship to the whole, to Krishna, the complete whole. Your relationship with the complete whole determines who you are, not just trying to meditate upon yourself. Huh? You have to die to yourself to live to what is other than yourself. What's that?
So, Maharaj, experience depends on the individual's relationship with the whole.
Yes. Well, now, experience, that is the rational part of it, huh? The rational part of it is that we can understand that everything has a purpose or a relationship with the whole, and not to be understood only on itself. Otherwise, we end up with atomic theory. That's called Vaisheshika in Sanskrit. Vaisheshika philosophy. Now, we may say that also exists, but that is not the complete understanding. Huh? More full understanding is that everything has a relationship to the whole, and that must be understood. The first thing, rational, logical aspect is there. Now, how do you experience that? So that was John's question. So he understood the principle, but how do you experience that? Huh?
From another experience person.
What's this?
From another experience person.
From another? No,
Experienced person.
no, not really. Huh? If you have never experienced the taste of raviolis, huh? And I have experienced that, then I tell you, The experience of the raviolis tastes like this. You still don't know what it means. Huh? Unless you taste it yourself, you don't know. Huh? So how do you experience what the idea of Krishna consciousness, the idea of being a part of something greater than yourself? How do you experience that? So how to explain that to her? How to tell her that? What?
Take shelter of Guru, we can explain.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. But the uh,
Maharaj,
yes,
I'm thinking that even though the object is there, but if our the senses are defective, still we cannot experience that actually.
yes.
So we have to make our senses really what you can say capable or suitable to taste that object.
Yes.
So for that, some process is necessary.
Some process. Yes, that's correct. So I so I explained that yeah, the experiences we have. Where's Muni Maharaj? Is he there? His screen is black.
Muni Maharaj, I think it is understood.
Okay. I explained that the experience of things comes from the habits of thinking that we have developed. Just like I explained to you at the, in the first part, first thing that I said was about Aristotle and the hand. How we see the world as atomic pieces of, and the whole is a totality of all those atoms. That's the way we look at things today. That's the habit that we have developed from scientific training, education, so many things that we have in our modern world. They teach us. They have trained us to think in that way, and that's the only way people that the modern people know how to think in terms of the thing itself, and to find everything that within that thing itself, what its meaning is, whatever it may be, is there in the thing. It's not something other than the thing. We don't say to understand the thing, you have to think about something that's completely other than the thing. You just look at the thing and everything can be explained within that thing. It's called atomic thinking. That's how we develop this mentality, the modern mentality of atomic theory. That's all it is.
Relation,
Uh-huh.
that excludes the relation between the thing and the other.
Yes. That's right. So how to see beyond that, how to experience the world beyond that kind of thinking. How do we get that experience? We experience the world. The scientists, they look at things and they try to understand it from that point of view only. Atoms. That is the essence of the thing. They look there. But Aristotle and Hegel, they're telling the essence of the thing is not in the thing itself and not there. Whatever is not the thing, that's where the essence lies. It's almost impossible. It is impossible for the modern mind to understand that. You are what you are not. Anyone ever tell you that? No. People don't talk like that. People don't think like that. You are what you are not. If somebody told you like that, you say you're crazy, you know? But this is what this is what Hegel is teaching. Your essence does not lie within you. It lies within that of which you are but a part. All the things you are forgetting, which you are ignoring, that is where you can find your reality, your truth. So Joan caught some idea of that, but she said, "How do you experience that?" So the only reason we're not experiencing that is because that is how we've been trained. That is how we've been taught to think only in terms of atoms. If we are taught the other way and we practice that, then we will see it in that way, see things in that way. If we put it into practice, if we train ourselves, or if we are trained to see it in the other way from childhood, we can be experiencing those things. Anyhow, so the problem of experience is understood when we recognize that we're experiencing things only by the habits of thinking that we have developed. Because of the habits, the training that we've had to think in certain ways, then we're experiencing that way. We're experiencing that the universe is made of atoms only because we've been taught to think like that. And we look for those experiences only. So I told her that in yoga, in the yoga system, you have to practice. There's something called sadhana. First step in our process, Bhakti Yoga process, is sadhana. Sadhana means practice. Practice means to develop certain habits. What is our habit that we have to develop? Using the senses in devotional activities. By practicing using the senses in devotional activities, we are told that we can make progress in spiritual life to realize Krishna consciousness, that we are but a part of Krishna, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord energy. How do we come to realize that? By practicing sadhana. That's only the first stage, sadhana. And after that comes raga, spontaneous recognition of that. Sadhana means practice. We don't have full realization. We believe, we have faith, but our process is by practicing, we can come to that actual realization, actualization. So, and what we're explaining about philosophically, that can also be realized by putting that uh, knowledge into practice and overcoming our habit of thinking according to the modern atomistic way. A matter of first knowing, having the proper conception, and then putting it into practice. Then the experience will come. The experience will come. That is the yoga process. Yes.
This is what actually being called as a scientific process.
Yes.
Because of the experience.
Of course.
Technology used to many times tell us this.
Yes.
Experience.
Yes. So in science, they do experiment. We call it experience. They call it experiment. They train by doing experiments, and they come always to the same conclusion that everything is made of atoms in the science way of training and the habits of developing scientific thinking is to think in that way and experience things in that way. And so certainly they come to the conclusion that everything is made of atoms. And these atoms, the reality of which we are part, is just a totality of such atoms. Meaningless for anyone who is looking for meaning in life. Because they ignore meaning. And they ignore the context or the concept of which everything is but an infinitesimal part. So how do we proceed? First, we have to have the concept, the proper concept. And then we have to practice putting that into practice. In a material sense, I don't know how that can be practiced. Of course, if we don't have any faith in Krishna and so forth, We may have to think in terms of the whole and the whole world or whatever, one another, uh, whatever. You have to develop in a way that will practice, that will bring that type of realization of whatever your conception of the whole is. But in our conception, that is Krishna consciousness. And the process that we have to develop is the use of the senses, using the senses to develop the habit of using the senses in devotional service. Uh, what's that, Maharaj?
How Hegel could experience this concept of whole and part relationship.
Yes. Well, he understood Aristotle, what he was saying. He understood. He was a great scholar of Aristotle and Plato. And he knew what they were saying. A very intelligent and a great student of Greek philosophy. And he just applied that, and he took what we know from the modern philosophy, and he combined that and made his very nice philosophy. Hmm? And so let's see what happens. We're trying to present these ideas to the scholars and then bring some realization to them also by having them first understand things and then how to apply that, how to apply themselves to that understanding. And you can use our knowledge of Bhakti Yoga and the process of Bhakti Yoga to explain to them that same process that they have to engage in according to their realization also. What it means to be not only a thing within yourself, but also something that has a relationship with what is other than yourself. Ah. Now, this coronavirus, I'm just, when I was writing to her, I was thinking how this coronavirus, what is this? How is this significant? How is this significant to that idea that I was talking about? Habit. Now, the coronavirus is coming. Everybody's habits have to change. Their all usual way of thinking, the usual habits they have developed, they're all being stopped. You can't just do what you used to do before. If they do that, they find that everything becomes contaminated. If they try to follow the same habits they had of living before the pandemic, they find that everything is uh, becoming infected. Everyone is becoming infected. They have to stop those old habits. They have to change their old habits. It's forcing the people to do that. Right? It's forcing them. Even those countries where they thought they were free from the contamination, they find if they go back to their old habits, again the disease comes. We've seen, if you look in the news, you can see this is what's happening. No matter which way they turn, if they go back to the old habits, the thing comes and attacks them. I thought, what a wonderful thing that they are being forced to change their habits, to change their way of thinking, to change their way of behaving. The only unfortunate thing is they don't know what is that positive thing they should be doing. How they can develop the proper habits, and what is the proper habit? What is the proper way of thinking? What is the proper way of doing things? They don't have that. And this is where Krishna consciousness comes. Now, opportunity is there to teach what is the proper conception, what to do with your senses that will lead to the experience of that higher conception, that higher conception of Krishna consciousness, and to give up this lower conception of the individual atomic self as all in all. That's a wonderful opportunity. But how will that word get out to all these people? How will they know these things that we are teaching? How will that be promoted, propagated? In science, in the history of science, I know there's a period in which it was being discussed among the academics, a small circle of academics called the Vienna Circle. And they had some of the most advanced scientists in that time in a circle, in a group. And they discussed what science was and how to present science in the modern period, because it was a very confused time. Things are changing rapidly in the ideas of science. And they got together and tried to come up with a systematic way of understanding science. And that circle was influential all over the world. They taught how to understand science in a very rigid way, positivistic way. They were very influential in teaching the whole world, especially the Western world, at least, and how to do science, how to understand science. And it went to all the schools, and they all accepted that by their influence. That happened in history. So, likewise, if some, of course, what we're teaching is a little different and much more difficult than science. Scientific thinking, like I said, is this very simplified atomic thinking. But what we're telling is something very revolutionary, different from the atomic thinking. Yet, if a group of scholars, well, good intelligence, proper quality, they could develop those ideas and present that to the educational system throughout the world and have them accept that. Then it can also have a revolutionary effect on how the habits and the way of thinking that people need to come to that broader conception of life, beyond the modern conception. Something different, entirely different. It's possible if we can find that group of intellectuals, of academics, who can formulate those ideas very clearly and present them very nicely, scientifically, in a systematic way, I should say, to others. And they may adopt that, and teach in that way to the people. And in that way, a whole new uh, civilization can arise with a different understanding, different habits. Ideal situation like that can happen. Anyhow,
Maharaj,
that's what I was discussing. Yes.
I was listening to what you're saying right now, but do you think that those scientists, they, they have many years um, finding all this knowledge that they have right now? And do you think that you present something to them like this, maybe they will not accept it? Because that would mean that the whole life they mess up, they do the wrong thing. So I think that would be very hard for a person to have an ego like that, like they have so many years studying things, and not to accept that all his knowledge was wrong, incorrect. That would be a little hard.
Well, Rasraj Prabhu, when Max Planck, I don't know if you heard of him, when he was a scientist, and he discovered that energy was not continuous. Changes in the world were not just continuous, gradual changes. They occurred in jumps or leaps. They call it quantum. He said energy is not a continuous, not continuously changing. It changes all of a sudden and jumps. It doesn't go continuously. Now, nobody in science had ever thought of such a thing or even considered such a thing was possible. And when he presented his ideas, they all thought he was crazy, and they all rejected his ideas. So much that he once commented, he said, science doesn't make any progress by telling them what is the right thing, or what is observed, or what explains the phenomena properly. Science changes only when the old scientists die and the new scientists grow up thinking in the new way. That's how science progresses. It progresses one funeral at a time, something like that. He said that. He said that. So sometimes the old ideas, it's impossible to change people's old ideas. But they died. They're not here forever. New people, they possibly can learn, and they will grow up accepting the new idea. That's how the world makes progress. That was the scientist who said that. Uh, yes, Maharaj.
Maharaj, when you were discussing with George Wald, and when he got convinced, and he even publicly and in publications acknowledged that whatever he done in entire of his career and getting Nobel Prize and everything, that is all wrong. He acknowledged that it is not the matter is not the foundation.
Yes. Well, I mean, to me, he was always thinking in a different way than he was talking. He's a very smart man. He met Einstein. George Wald used to talk to Einstein when he was in Princeton. Einstein used to be in Princeton at the what is that?
Institute for Advanced Studies.
Institute for Advanced Studies. Einstein was there, and George Wald was at MIT. So he used to come to Princeton, and he would talk with Einstein. And Einstein remarked about him that he was a very intelligent man. He has something very, he has some good brain, and he has some important things to say. Anyhow, so although he was talking in public about what he knew, the scientists accepted. He was also under in the background. Had some other idea. Didn't he? He said something like, "Although we know this evolution is impossible. We know that evolution is impossible, but still, if we don't say evolution, then we have to think of something even worse, that everything is created by God." So he knows that's there. He said, but if we have to accept that, then all of science is finished. You know, all our scientific understanding of it. So he knew this. But for the public, he had to speak in that way about everything is coming from
He said, so
matter.
I choose to accept what I think is scientifically impossible.
Yes. So this he had to do. But he was thinking, I was sure that anyone who studies, he studied vision, the eye and the different molecules in the eye that make vision possible. And I was thinking that anyone who can who is thinking about vision, how we see things, knows very well that atoms and molecules don't see anything, and they can't see anything. There's not a power of molecules. So I'm sure that he was as intelligent man. He knew that what he was saying was all baloney. As far as scientific things, that's true, maybe true, but it's not the whole explanation. So when I was able to say something that he also knew was true, had to be true, that life comes from life, it wasn't hard for him to accept that, because although he was making a public show of what the public wanted to know, underneath he knew that it wasn't the correct thing. And somehow he got inspired. And some person said what is the truth, what he was thinking, he could also say that. without feeling embarrassed. Because if he said that to the other scientists, they would ridicule him. When he heard me say it, then I think he also understood he could say that. Because it was a fact. Somebody had accepted that fact and said it bluntly. And I only said it bluntly because Prabhupada said it bluntly to me. Huh? And I thinking, oh, everybody knows this. Not a big secret. But somehow nobody is saying it. Life comes from life. And when you hear somebody say it, you say, well, he can say it. Why can't I say that? Huh? Something like that. Break the habit.
Yes.
Huh?
Maharaj, it seems many scientists were unhappy that their one big hero, he changed like that. And when we were talking, one scientist who founded, this cellular biology center, which is one of the famous in India, in Hyderabad.
Who's that?
CCMB, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology.
Oh, yes.
So that Pushpamitra Bhargava, and he told that, oh, Hare Krishna stolen, that Hare Krishna people stolen this George one. He told like that.
Have kidnapped him. Brainwashed him.
Brainwashing, yes.
So, yes, impossible. It sounds impossible. But it is actually possible. And people have faced this kind of great difficulty in science throughout the whole history of science. So I don't know how these things will happen. But I don't think it's impossible. It may not be impossible. Anyhow, we have to try, huh? Who would have thought that an old man could have brought Krishna consciousness to the West? We are all steeped in material existence. And Prabhupada came and lifted us out from that. Otherwise, impossible to think of. So we don't know how these things work. Anyhow, somehow that feeling came to me that this whole coronavirus thing has that effect on the people to break their habits, their old habits, to teach them in a different way. But like I said, a positive thing is needed. I think that's missing. People are not sure what they want to do next, how they can live their lives in a way, such a way that they can develop different habits, different way of thinking.
Maharaj, I was remembering once you told that this, especially biologists, they think that it is DNA which is mechanically controlling all behaviors and everything of the organism. But as we have seen in later on studies that it is the environment and epigenetics which has taken a major role even to manipulate the DNA. So as now you are saying about this coronavirus and how that heavily is changed all over the world. It has nothing to do with DNA.
It's a similar idea though, because just like the biologists are discovering, it's not the atoms, not the DNA, not the atoms and molecules that are controlling things. It's what is other than them. The epi phenomena. What do they call it? Epigenetics. Not the genes that are doing things. It's the epigenetic system. What is not the genes is doing everything. So the same idea is there. That is not the individuals, it's not the atomic individuals that are the significant thing. It's what is other than them. Other than them. The whole. So what they're discovering in biology is there's a micro reflection of what the outer, the macro environment and the living entities have to be understood in a similar way. So it's possible to utilize that new knowledge of the biologists also to explain what we're trying to tell. No?
Because they were, as we were knowing that deterministic in approach. They were thinking that they know secret in DNA, then they can control everything. But then when this environment comes as the major factor, then environment is not under their control also.
Yes. So it also has a role, an important role to play with what the genes are doing. Not the genes are on their own. The same way for us. We are under an influence of everything. The environment is influencing us. And it can come to help us or harm us. So we have to establish proper relationship, proper understanding, and harmonize our existence with that. And if that's something that we can learn through this pandemic, then it is a good thing. Although so many people have to sacrifice their lives, unfortunately, in order to teach, in order to learn what is the proper way of thinking, the proper way of behaving. Somebody dropped their camera. Huh?
Maharaj, one Didi, she is the disciple of Srila Maharaj.
Yes.
Her name is, I forgot her name. She joined a few days back in our Sangha. She's from Australia. And she was asking a very interesting question that, when we are reading this Prapanna Jivanamrita, it is all about the surrender is, that we are surrendering to the positive by developing this quality of Saranagati, which is of negative nature. Then why that book's title is given as positive, this progressive immortality.
Because negative is also positive. To go in a more negative direction, you can say is also positive. We call them positive and negative, but they're not different. Positive enjoyment, negative surrender, they both can go and they both have an increasing capacity within them. They can increase. You can increase your positive in the positive direction. You can also increase in the negative direction. So that positive and progressive in the negative direction means increasing in the negative.
It's like union and separation.
And to say increasing. Die to live is a matter of degree. Just like we were saying, you are what you are not. The more you can understand that, the more you are dying, but at the same time you are living in that other world in which you have fulfilling your purpose, your understanding, and making more progress in your purpose, proper reality of life. Anyhow, these things require diving deep into reality. To dive deep, it means to think very deeply about things. Don't only think on the surface. It is a struggle. Effort is required on our part to search out these things. Uh, don't accept it, and everything seems what it seems to be. Things are not what they seem.
Her name is Dinatarini.
Oh, I heard of her. I heard of her. Yeah, good. All right, you're doing good. Your preaching going on nicely, helping people.
We are trying to do some by your mercy, Maharaj, like the hammer.
Uh, the hammer.
Hammer in the hand of the carpenter.
Oh. So, any other comments, additions, subtractions?
It's like the whole world is shaking.
Yeah.
Situation. And
yes.
Sometimes the only way to change is like that. That you have a very bad situation, that you have to think what you were doing before. Now you have to change.
Yes, exactly.
So otherwise, you will continue doing the same way over and over for generation. So this is shaking will change things.
Yeah, very deeply, actually, very deeply. I was just reading the news every day. I see, this. No matter what they do, they may think they have control of the whole thing, and then all of a sudden it explodes again. And I'm thinking, how vicious this whole thing is.
And the funny thing is that the countries they develop so much protection with the armies and militaries and many equipment and many things to protect the country, and something so tiny and small they damage the whole thing.
Yes.
And they don't know what to control or what to do. So all the preparation, all the things that they have, is no effect. Don't do anything. So they put walls in the country and this and that and armies and planes and radars and all this investigation, and then suddenly the whole life is changed. Nothing. They were not prepared for anything like this.
So, I have heard, Maharaj, that is the infected people are again getting reinfected.
Yes.
They get cured, they're getting again reinfected. It seems strange. How it is happening?
So it's not getting any protection anymore. They can get reinfected.
So it's very interesting, actually, to see now how is the world going to get out of this? How are we going to escape this whole problem? How will it happen? And it may not last only a short time. It may last years and years. 2 or 3 years, they're saying now. Maybe more. Who knows?
Some people, they say that will be like a flu season, will be a coronavirus season. Like it would come over again and again. So it's not like it go away and that's it. Or it will stay.
So unless there's a complete change of heart, it may not. We may have a different world. It won't be business as usual.
In India, there was a big business of this IPL, Maharaj, Indian Premier League, this cricket, and they used to make a lot of money by gathering a big crowd in the stadiums, and they were very influential in India, and they have to cancel all their events.
All that
They
is.
are trying here and there and there. Nothing is working.
So we have to think very deeply about what we are doing and how that can help the situation also in the world today, and that how to present that and to change in this changing world, and how to give those positive ideas so that others may also live their lives in a happy and progressive way. I think it's a very important time uh, for us all to be patient and to be active also. We don't have to uh, stop cultivating our Krishna consciousness because of the situation. Huh? Our activity is the same as before. We're always trying to cultivate it and develop our own Krishna consciousness. And that has to go on, whether we're sitting by ourselves or interacting with others. And do
Only one thing is, Maharaj, we could not come to New Jersey because of all
uh,
these things.
well, it had to happen like this because otherwise, if it was everything was okay, then the world would not be in that critical condition it is in now. Huh? The crisis it is facing now had to be like that so that they could come to this position of making some change, making some decision in their own lives, which way to go. And we still have to encourage one another and try to encourage others with Krishna consciousness conception, and hope that it will be like a what do you call a life? What do they call those things that you send out when someone is drowning? The lifesaver, huh?
Life vest, they call it.
Lifesaver. There's a little circular tube. Lifesaver, isn't it? Throw that out. These people are drowning in the ocean of coronavirus. Huh? What to do with their lives? Everything is changing, so we have to throw out the lifesaver to them. Here, take this Krishna consciousness. Chant Hare Krishna. You can learn how to be satisfied within, cultivating your love for God, and give up all this other external futility of trying to enjoy that external world without any internal development. So here,
It is very nice.
huh?
It's
What's
very nice Tulsi Devi. Kusum Devi has.
Yes.
so here on page 23 of the Prabandha Jivanamrita. If you like to turn there, page 23, we can discuss this one slok. Page 23. Yam ena uh, samshrayanita samshrayantiha bhaktya narayanam harim te tarantiha andurgani name twasti vicharana, from the Mahabharata Shantipar. The surrender unto the Supreme Lord Hari vanquishes misery and charms the heart with the Lord's divine sweetness. Here is the whole thing in one sentence. O King, what more can I say? the foremost of the Yadu dynasty, the unassailable great personality who is full of goodwill for you and always your dear friend. He is none other than the Supreme Lord Narayan, Sri Hari. Those who devoutly take full refuge in him cross over this insurmountable ocean of material existence. This is our idea. This is the Krishna conscious idea. So we practice this, and we have this idea, we have this conception, and we put it into practice by engaging our senses in devotional activities. Our ears are engaged in hearing these things, our tongues are engaged in chanting, and eating prasad that is offered to Krishna. In all these ways, so many different ways, we engage our senses in the service of Krishna, then the realization will come. The Dami Buddhi Yogam Ta, Krishna says. The Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam. The Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Are they coming? The Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. I will give you the intelligence how you can come to me. That's Krishna's promise in the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Teres. Good. Okay, very good. Good to see you again. That by practicing Tesham Satata Yuktanam. What does that mean? Tesham Satata. Satata means always, huh? Say Tesham Satata Yuktanam, by always remaining in touch with me. That's by remembering, not only by remembering with our mind, but also by utilizing our senses in connection with Krishna, so that nothing takes us away from that connection. Tesham Satata Yuktanam. Yuktanam means yoga, huh? Yukta. Yukta, be connected. Tesham Satata Yuktam, by always being connected to me. Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, and in with some priti, with some affection. Bhajatam means worshipping me with your heart, with your affectionate worship. Tesham Satata Yuktanam, by always being connected with me and worshipping me with your heart, with your full, heartfelt worship. Then the Dami Buddhi, then what happens? Then somehow or other the intelligence, the proper idea, understanding will come. The Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam will be given to us. There's the process of how it happens. How the experiential part comes from the rational understanding. Krishna explains that very nicely. Yenamam upayanti te. And then that upayanti, that means we can come to him. Srila Maharaj explained that in Paramar affection. Parakiya. Surpassing all other obstacles of not being connected. Whole heart, body, mind, everything will realize their intimate connection with Krishna. So the system is there. We have to just apply ourselves to it, and by Krishna's grace, that will fulfill we'll find fulfillment in that. Very nice process and very valuable thing. People in the current time, they don't know these things, and therefore they're experiencing so many mental and physical and other types of miseries. So Mahaprabhu has come with the medicine, proper medicine for this Kali Yuga. Then we have to distribute that medicine, and then it's up to them, the people, if they want to take it. My doctor is trying to give me so many medicines for blood pressure, and I take those medicines. I find I'm becoming more and more sick, more and more miserable from those medicines. I have to tell them I'm not going to take your medicines anymore. Ah, the medicines are not supposed to make us feel worse. They're to make us feel better. No, we take medicine to feel better, not to feel worse. But I'm feeling worse from those medicines. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to tell them I'm not taking them. But Mahaprabhu is giving a medicine that's very nice. Huh? We're happy to take that medicine, and it makes us feel better. So that medicine is being given and being distributed, and the people have to take that. That's all. And they can get cured. They can become happy. Their lives can become fulfilled. And it decreases their misery and brings them happiness. So kindly take that medicine, we tell people, and make your life fulfilled. So we have the medicine for this coronavirus. I have it. And we can take that medicine and we can feel happy. No matter what will happen, we will always feel content. Huh? It doesn't matter to us. The world is in great turmoil and concern, but we are happy.
It was a complete new experience, Maharaj. For so many months, you have to stay in one room. It never happened like that to us.
Uh, go crazy, huh? Without Krishna consciousness. Now, so keep preaching, keep spreading that, distributing that medicine. Bring people some peace in their life, some joy. The best thing we can do.
We will try by your blessings.
All right. Any other things anyone wants to share? How are you doing, Therese?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
You're okay. All right. Good.
Everything's good with you, right?
Yes, we're going on.
It's a beautiful day today.
Yes. Not so hot. Not so hot here. Got some relief from the heat.
Yeah, it's actually very nice. We were in the backyard today. It was very nice.
Oh, very good. Ingoji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You are taking the apple. How is everyone?
We're all very happy. Very happy.
thing that I makes me so happy. The deer destroyed it last night.
What happened?
The deer got it.
Oh, the deer.
I took pictures, Christopher. I'm going to send them to you. I was so proud. I put stakes in the ground. I'm supposed to have netting come to the house so I could put netting up to protect it.
Yes.
They lost my netting, so I had the stakes put in the ground, but I couldn't put the netting up because I didn't have it. And after 6 weeks of this garden beautifully growing, they ate everything.
I experienced the same thing here with all the flowers many times till I realized that we can put this netting up and now they don't bother anything. They come here and they enjoy sitting on the lawn and having this, smelling all the flowers. They're so foolish they actually destroyed their own nice environment. Now, now we protected it and everybody is happy. The deer are happy and we're happy.
Oh, the cucumber leaves gone.
Everything gone.
So the vines are still there.
Shoot down to the very
Right, yes. They're,
The vines are there, so I'm going to still water them, and I'm going to hope that they come back.
okay. It's possible. Possible.
Let's see, I got to find this netting.
And, and there's always next year.
Yeah, there's always next year. I was hoping for something.
But yeah, yes.
Harvested this year.
I
They didn't touch the basil.
oh, good. Yes, they don't like smelly things. Too much fragrance, they don't like. They have a very strong sense of smell. And if you put things like that that have a strong smell, they don't like. Lavender also works.
I
La-
thought about lavender.
Lavender and oregano, and even people sometimes put the soap, a bar of soap,
Okay.
like that, or onions, they,
Garlic.
garlic. You like Ingo likes garlic. If you if you put some in the garden, they don't. The deer don't like that. Good deer repellent.
There's postmark. So they left there.
There's a whole family of deer, and when I go for my walks in the afternoons and evenings, I see them in various, especially as the sun is going down, dusk. You see them walking. They'll come from the park, they go through yards.
Yes.
So they're always around here.
Yes.
They have been in our backyard in the past.
Yes.
So far, they haven't touched anything until last night. They decided to come in and
Now the deer.
I trimmed down the bush that we had on the side because they could not get through that. I trimmed the bush down recently, and now they can come through.
Now they're very happy. The deer, because people are inside and they're not bothering them so much, and so they coming out and playing very happily. Because now everyone is isolated, quarantined, and not disturbing their environment.
You don't have lions there, Maharaj?
Huh?
Lions don't have.
Lion. So far, I haven't seen any.
In India, Maharaj, tigers and lions, they're coming on the main road. Because there are no people, they love it. They're coming and wandering coming into cities nowadays.
Oh, wow.
Because there's nobody walking.
Right. That's right. That's right. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
They're happy to walk into the cities.
Yeah.
India.
Have you seen any?
Yeah, we've seen in news. They're saying that, these all wild animals, they are becoming very happy. Nobody is walking around. So they're coming on the roads and, cities, moving here and there.
Wow. After a year of people being gone on the roads, how the animals will think.
Yeah.
That's a whole dynamic.
It was fun while it lasted.
All right. So now, unfortunately, you came at the end.
I just wanted to say hello.
Okay. Very happy to see you both. Then my dandavats, humble dandavats to you all. Thank you for coming.
Dandavats, Maharaj.
All right.
Dandavats. Jai Sripad Bhakti Puri Maharaj ki
Jai,
Jai.
Om Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Ka Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.